This is Matrix Lord 212, and this message is going out to Mugster 300. The reason why I'm going to make this Doctor Who video is because I want to try to explain the concept of regeneration and the regeneration limits and the numbers. Now, before the Time War started, there was a regeneration limit. The Doctor can only regenerate 12 times. And it seemed like this was the cycle for all Time Lords. There was a law of time. It wasn't necessarily that they only could regenerate 12 times, but it was a law implemented, I believe, by the Time Lords that they would not be able to regenerate after the 12th time. This is why when the Master, after he regenerated 12 times, sought to somehow find ways to regenerate without Time Lord approval. Basically harnessing another part of energy to regenerate. In the Keeper of Traken episode, the Master harnessed the power of Traken to merge into Nissa's father, thereby having a different form of regeneration, not necessarily the regeneration energy, but basically phasing inside Nissa's father and basically making him younger. I guess using the power of Traken to revert his cells back to when he was younger. Not really that much regeneration energy involved, but this was another form of regeneration. As I left the comments when I first started talking to Sexy Blues, I believe there's many different types of regeneration. There's also another Master regeneration where his body was completely disintegrated, and he was left to the form of, like an eel-like creature, a little slug that all he did was went inside Eric Roberts, the actor's body, and just took it over completely. Thereby, that would be a form of regeneration, but not Time Lord sanctioned. There have been many types of regeneration the Doctor has went through. When in the Planet of the Spiders, the third Doctor's episode, when he was bitten by the spiders, he was not going to regenerate. He was going to die. And the monk used, he gave the regeneration a push because the Doctor was going to die. The third Doctor was going to die. It was too late to regenerate. In the fourth Doctor's Logopolis episode, the Doctor, it was too late to regenerate as well. And the Watcher, which is a mystery if he was the final incarnation of the Doctor, merged into his younger self, thereby regenerating the Doctor. Now, it is unclear if that regeneration was an actual sanctioned Time Lord regeneration, or like did they fuse into one being. But this has also happened with the monk, where the monk fused into the body of, I think the guy's name was Jojo or something, to one person, just like the Master did. So there are many different types of regeneration. There's also a regeneration where if a Time Lord's body comes into like an accident where, it's such a trauma to the brain, I guess, from an impact, automatically the regeneration energy is triggered instantaneously, not even time to adjust, which this is what happened when the Sixth Doctor crashed into the TARDIS wall and regenerated instantly, not even the amount of time it took with all the other Doctors. And this caused probably an imbalance in his brain a little bit, where the Doctor had amnesia. Now, we're not clear with the Doctor if, he's different than the other Time Lords, because I don't think the other Time Lords, when they regenerate, go through so much pain and problems with the Doctor. For some reason, the Doctor always has a problem with regenerating. After regenerating, he has amnesia, his body's rejecting the regeneration, and there's got to be a reason why his body's rejecting the regeneration. Now, if he was part human, like suggested in the 8th Doctor's episode, that would make perfect sense, because he's not fully Time Lord. So, you know, the human part can't handle it, and it always is like rejecting it, but then he does wind up adjusting. Or it could be something with him where he just doesn't know how to regenerate properly. You know, like he can't pick out what he wants to look like, unless, of course, he first did this with Christopher Eccleston, because, you know, he just became anything. He didn't know what he was going to get. Now, and there's also a rumor, too, that, you know, like when they shared the kiss with Rose, Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor, and Rose, you know, part of Rose's memories of the 10th Doctor in that final adventure of the end of time was taken from her mind, and he regenerated to himself, basically. I mean, that's my concept anyway, because, you know, technically, her younger self did meet the 10th Doctor before the 9th. So, you know, it's a thing where when the 10th, you know, this is a big, I mean, this is bigger than one video, I think, but when the 10th, I mean, the 7th Doctor, when he regenerated to the 8th, his body was dead, and for some reason, the regeneration energy kicked in somehow, you know, and made him regenerate. Now, it could be that because it was too late, he regenerated into half human. That could explain why, you know, the Master thought he was half human, but really he is full Time Lord. You know, and the only thing that they had was, I don't know, whatever, but, you know, the 9th Doctor got rid of the time vortex energy back into the TARDIS, which, you know, I spoke to Asper Game Star about this, 2009, that this is what linked him to the TARDIS forever, where he was able to snap his fingers, the TARDIS would open, like he would just be able to be linked forever with the TARDIS. This is why David Tennant was so close with the TARDIS. He was snapping his fingers, the TARDIS opens. You know, the TARDIS, you know, was a part of the Doctor. So, which is also why if the Dream Lord was an evil manifestation of the Doctor, the TARDIS would not do anything to stop him because he is the Doctor. And they would just let him roam the TARDIS and do whatever he wants because he's technically the Doctor, and the TARDIS would not go against the Doctor. Any way, shape, or form. So, you know, I really got to look into this and over and over and over again, but the way I think is that since the Time War, the moment the Time Lords went into war with the Daleks, the law was abolished, limiting limits for regeneration, and they could regenerate indefinitely. Unless, of course, like in River's case, she expelled at the time all the energy. But this would keep the Time Lords consistently regenerating, battling the Daleks. They get shot, they regenerate again. And the Daleks, they get shot, they get repaired. So this is maybe what the Time Lady meant, where, you know, they die and they keep coming back over and over and over again without ever dying, because, you know, both parties are regenerating. The Daleks are regenerating in their own way, being repaired, being a machine. And the Time Lords are regenerating because they're never going to die, because there's no limits. And this is also, it goes back into what I talked about with the Time Lords being, you know, playing dirty. I mean, you bring back the Master, you bring back Rassilon, bring back Irani, Omega, everybody. You bring back anybody to win the Time War. Once the Time War is over, then you do what you gotta do. But I think that the regeneration limits were gone, and this is an example of the Doctor, because he's going to be able to regenerate. Even Russell T. Davis threw that in there in Sarah Jane Adventures, saying the Doctor was asked how many times could he change his face, and he said 537 times, I think. So it could be a joke, but meaning he could regenerate infinitely. And also, the Ood said, you know, his song will never end, meaning he'll never stop regenerating, he'll never die, as far as they could see, anyway. So, did David Tennant regenerate into two Doctors? I would have to say, from all my years in Doctor Who, that regeneration does not count unless it goes full effect. I mean, it's not a regeneration until you change your form. So, if you do not change your, if you not change your appearance, your personality, and everything, it's not considered, in my eyes, a regeneration. It could be the energy, but it wasn't the full energy of the full regeneration energy to count as a regeneration. Because if you notice, if it was full energy, the Time Lord energy, the regeneration energy would have been able to make another body for the Doctor, and it couldn't. It had to rely on a template, which was Donna Noble, to complete the regeneration. So, in my eyes, I would have to say no. David Tennant is the 10th Doctor, and that's all he is. He never completed the regeneration, so it was only, you know, it wasn't, I mean, you know, this brings a big debate. I just subscribe now, I think counts it as regeneration. I would have to say no. It does not count as a regeneration unless he changes his form. That's the way I feel. So the energy was not completely used up. It did not completely count as a regeneration. So that being said, Donna Noble assisted in the regeneration part, which is why the Doctor became part human. You know, and you know, this could be a way how to solve the Donna Noble problem, because if that human doctor exists, then Donna Noble should be able to, because she's part human, part Time Lord. Okay, so the thing about the Valeyard. Now, we could be dealing with time being rewritten constantly. I mean, if the Valeyard was somewhere between his 12th, and notice how they didn't say 13th, they said 12th and final regeneration. That could mean that he could have regenerated like 50 times, 100 times, and, you know, or it could be the 12th, because, you know, I think they left it open like that because the Watcher was supposed to be the final incarnation. So the Valeyard will be the 12th, and the Watcher will be the 13th. But then that throws things into question, because Watcher goes back in time and rewrites the whole entire history, thereby regenerating into himself, which is a Doctor. So, you know, it has to be, you know, I don't have all the answers either, but, you know, this video is going on very long, but I'm going to have to make another one. But in closing, the Doctor, David Tennant, was only the 10th Doctor and not the 11th, and Matt Smith is not the 12th Doctor, so, in my eyes, anyway. Okay? Please leave your comments below with suggestions, and thanks, Mugster, for giving me this idea to do this video. I'm going to do a few more, because this is a big topic. Alright, thanks. Like my channel, subscribe to my channel. Thanks.